In a quiet village by the edge of a restless sea lived a young woman named Ilara. Her life had been marked by both gentle joys and deep sorrows, but none of her past grief could compare to the storm she now faced. Her father, the village fisherman, had passed away suddenly. The sea that once fed their family now seemed to swallow all her hope. The small house by the cliffs felt emptier than ever. Every morning she woke to the hollow sound of wind howling against the walls, a cruel reminder of her loss. Neighbors offered their words, "Time heals," they said, "Stay strong, child." But their comfort was thin as paper against the heavy weight on her chest. One gray dawn, unable to bear the sorrow, Ilara ran to the cliffs where her father once cast his nets. The sky was bruised purple, and the sea churned wild and angry. She stood at the edge, letting the cold wind whip her hair and tears. As she stared into the endless horizon, a single thought rose, gentle and quiet, yet powerful as the tide. This is not the end. That one thought. So simple, so small, yet in that moment it became her anchor. This is not the end, she whispered aloud. Her voice broke, but she repeated it again and again. Each time she said it, the weight on her heart lifted, if only a little. Ilara returned home. The empty house greeted her with silence, but now she moved through the rooms with purpose. Her father's old boat sat unused by the shore. She cleaned it, repaired the nets, mended the worn sails. With blistered hands and aching muscles, she prepared to do the impossible, take the boat to see herself. The village doubted her, a young girl alone at sea. It's madness. But she smiled gently and whispered to herself, "This is not the end." Her first voyage was terrifying. Waves taller than towers rocked the boat. The wind roared in her ears, but her father's lessons, half remembered and buried under grief, came back like old friends. How to read the clouds, how to steer by the stars, how to listen to the sea. She returned to shore with nets full of fish. The villagers gathered, staring in awe. Their doubts melted into pride and wonder. Ilara did not stop. Each dawn she rose before the sun. Each day she faced the wild sea. The once quiet girl of the cliffs became the heart of the village. She fed the hungry, shared her catch, taught the young ones how to fish. Where there had been sorrow, there was now strength. And always, whenever fear or grief crept back into her heart, she held tight to that single thought. This is not the end. Years passed. Ilara's hair turned silver like moonlight, but her eyes remained bright. The sea that had once seemed cruel and cold now sang a softer song when she sailed its waves. And the village flourished because of her courage. One autumn evening, as the sky burned gold and crimson, a little girl tugged at Ilara's sleeve. "Tell me, grandmother," the child asked, "how did you become so strong?" Ilara smiled. She knelt by the child and gently brushed a curl from her cheek. "There was a time," she began, "when I thought I could not go on, when the world felt dark and empty. But then I remembered something my father once said. He told me, no matter how bad things seem, no matter how deep the pain, it is not the end. As long as you breathe, as long as your heart beats, there is another chance, another dawn, another hope." The little girl smiled, holding the words like treasure. And so the thought passed to the next generation. In the village by the restless sea, they would tell the tale of Ilara, the fisherwoman who defied the storm, who faced the impossible, who taught them all that life, no matter how painful, held more chapters yet to be written. And long after Ilara was gone, when storms came and fear returned, the villagers would whisper to one another in the darkness, "This is not the end." And they held on to that one thought, to that one truth. And so, even in their deepest pain, they found the courage to rise again. Because some thoughts are stronger than fear, and one thought, just one, can change everything. This is not the end.